Most people are never going to actively choose an AI model. They are going to use the intelligence that is already sitting inside their day. The phone in your pocket, the search bar on your browser, your work apps, even smart glasses. These are the new default surfaces. Power no longer belongs to the lab that builds the smartest engine. Power shifts to the company that owns the toll booth, the routing layer standing between you and the intelligence. As these systems act on our behalf, observability platforms are quietly collecting traces of every move, every tool call, and every prompt. But right now, all of that evidence is trapped inside the company's own closed dashboard. An audit depends on independent verification. When the only record is held by the vendor, the public is forced to rely on the vendor's own characterization of the event. This creates a vulnerability for big tech's walled gardens, and it takes the form of an open-source, MIT-licensed standard called the OpenLine Protocol. Instead of relying on a proprietary dashboard, OpenLine generates a portable, cryptographic receipt for every AI run. It builds a mathematical proof of what the agent did, why it did it, and under what authority. Raw AI reasoning data distills into a clean 5-number digest. This unpacks into telemetry, a stress gauge, kappa, spiking when output outruns logic, and a drift gauge, delta Hall, flagging when an agent wanders from its goal. By making the reasoning portable, OLP strips the vendor of its information monopoly. The proof moves freely across the internet to independent auditors or regulators, while the underlying proprietary data stays exactly where it is. The proof travels, the data doesn't. When an independent transparency standard emerges, tech giants typically prioritize preserving their own proprietary ecosystems. Behind closed doors, cloud engineers are quietly evaluating this. They dissect OpenLine's typed claim graphs and its ED 25519 cryptographic signing, mapping out exactly how the math holds up. In this diagram, you see the typical corporate playbook. Rather than joining an open standard, they build a proprietary version. The independent verification layer gets swallowed up by their massive corporate cloud, tightly locked into their own specific identity systems. If they can't quietly copy it, they try to contain the creators. This means offering cloud credits, exclusive pilot programs, or targeted acquire-hires to bring the independent threat in-house. The objective is simple: absorb the intellectual property and neutralize the independent threat before it forces true public accountability on their platforms. Sometimes containment fails. If a major competitor or a large open-source ecosystem adopts the protocol first, the dynamic immediately shifts. Fear of missing out takes over. These companies start aggressively stacking counteroffers and rapid integrations, terrify a rival will own the verification layer. To protect their margins, they use their enormous scale. They push out their own diluted standards through extensions like OpenTelemetry, making a watered-down version the default setting for millions of developers. Tech giants use their engineering scale and market dominance to keep independent standards from becoming the baseline for global AI audits. What these companies ought to do is adopt the open protocol wholesale. With advanced models running locally on devices and strict new rules like the European Union's AI Act taking effect, building fiduciary AI is becoming a strict legal necessity. When an autonomous agent makes a high-stakes decision on your laptop, whether it is dispensing medical advice or executing a legal contract, the public needs exportable, vendor-neutral proof of exactly how that choice was made. This chart illustrates the goal of a public seismograph. By collecting these portable receipts, independent tools can track the exact moments when corporate decisions and political power shift before the official public relations story is even written. A corporate slogan or a curated internal dashboard is just a promise. An independent, cryptographic receipt is a confession. Realistically, big tech is unlikely to transition to a completely open standard by choice. But the existence of the OpenLine protocol has triggered a receipt race. Hyperscalers are now being forced to raise their own baseline levels of auditability just to stay competitive in a market that demands verifiable trust. If a system collects the trace of an action, the public must demand that the proof is allowed to walk out the door.